CJ.
I'm Adrian.
And together we are the
Two Crazy Cat Ladies.
I'm gonna cut you.
I think I just peed.
Buckle up. We're back in the closet.
Welcome to another episode of Back in the Closet with the Two Crazy Cat Ladies.
You guys, we are so excited. Green Juju is one of our most favorite, most trusted companies in all the world.
land.
In all the world. And tonight I'm palpitating. My heart is palpitating. We're so excited to be joined by the founder and president of Green Juju, Kelley Marian, and everyone's favorite super nerd, and also vice president of nutrition and communications, Billy Hoekman. Oh my God, Green Juju in the house. Thank you guys both for being here tonight.
Yeah, they have some really, really exciting new
I'm
things.
shaking. I'm so excited.
You're weird. They have some really exciting new things that are out there that are actually really great. Really is going to be my word today. Great for cats. And so we invited the beautiful duo here to let the cat community know more about their amazing new stuffs.
If we may, for people that aren't already familiar with Green Juju, or maybe they are, but they don't know who you guys are, could you share a quick intro of who you are and how you're changing this world so well?
First of all, I just want to say I think Super Nerd is Billy's new title. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So I'm Kelley Marian. I started Green Juju over 10 years ago. It started for my yellow lab who had a rare joint tumor, and I was looking for something that I couldn't find. I was looking for conventional options to try to support her immune system, and it turned into a dark leafy green juiced blend mixed veggie kind of thing that started this whole company. And over the past 10 years, everything that we've done has been for novel proteins, grass-fed proteins, very, very limited ingredients. I basically had 2 dogs that were sensitive to everything. And every time I wanted a certain thing, I would walk into a pet store and I couldn't find that certain thing. There's always the one ingredient that I knew would throw them off. So I have been so fortunate to be able to make all the products that I could never find for my pets and take out those ingredients that were tripping them up and really just use whole foods for what they're good at and not having to add anything else. And so now we have the veggie blends and goat's milk and bone broth and organ-based treats and a freeze-dried and frozen food that's organ-based, and some cool supplements. So that's how it started. And surprisingly, we'll get into this more later, but almost everything is great for cats too. So we'll talk about that more.
I love it. Excited. And I also love that your Genesis story is really about facing a challenge, not having a resource, and taking it head on and becoming that resource. It's just... Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you to Bailey and Bam. Is it Bam too?
Bam, but yeah, Bam.
That helped bring this to the world. So awesome. Billy Hoekman.
So my name is Billy, and I have been with Green Juju. It'll be 4 years on June 1st.
Crazy.
And, I have been in formulation and product development and education and stuff like that for over 10 years. And, when I left my last job, there's only one person and one company I wanted to work for, and that was Green Juju, and that was Kelley. And I flew to Seattle and I said, I want to work for you. And luckily she wanted to have me. And I think we've done a really cool thing in creating all the products we've created together. And one of the reasons I wanted to come here was because of all the innovation she had done before I got here. And it is just a really cool scenario where we don't have investors, we don't have a board we have to, that we have to answer to or anything like that. And we can be really creative in that process in product development. And it is really like whatever we think is cool and will have the greatest health outcome, we can make it. And it's never not a cool thing, like seeing it in the store and that kind of thing. And so, for me, that's really cool. And that's, I think, what maybe I bring to the table is creativeness and trying to figure out new health outcomes. So,
And I love your title, Vice President of Nutrition and Communications, because nutrition is so confusing to so many of us, right? And we We really look for brands that do it right. You know, we try to ask all the right questions, and you are so good. It's why you're a super nerd. You are so good at really putting all these complicated things into kind of just plain English, you know, kind of making them understandable, digestible, if you will.
Quick story. You were live talking about you were talking about something that you're going to talk about tonight. And I pulled you up yesterday, and our new shipping manager, I was like, this is Billy. This is one of the people that we're going to be interviewing tomorrow. And she was listening to what you were saying, and she was like, he did a fantastic job of explaining. And she's not in the nutrition industry. I mean, now she is, but she's not like in the same space that we're in. And she was just like, wow, I really like the way that he explained things.
Oh, hey, I'll take it.
It is a gift. Okay, so you guys have been crazy busy creating new products.
Lots of new stuff.
Lots of really helpful things. Before we jump into some of the stuff that I'm really excited about, some of the really new stuff, can you guys go over, like Kelley, you were saying, a lot of people do have a misconception that Green Juju is just for dogs, and that is, we're going to smash that tonight. Because our cats are crazy for Green Juju. You have a number of products that are healthful and beneficial to cats. Can we go over some of those already existing products that you guys have created that are awesome for cats?
Yeah, so I think I'll start with the frozen veggie blends that I was talking about that started the company. That is the only thing that we don't blatantly recommend for cats. And that's just because you guys know better, but from our understanding, cats don't have the same plant benefit or requirement that dogs do. That doesn't mean that it's not safe for them and they can't have it. Uh-oh, where'd he go?
He'll be back.
I've heard stories of people that have taken on feeding the greens for whatever reason and had great benefits from a myriad of different ways. So it's not something that we go into or that we sell because of the reasons I mentioned, but it's safe, and people that feel that they want to do that have done that with success. So other products in the kind of supplement category are the bone broths and raw goat's milk. Both of those are great for cats because they have a lot of liquid moisture, which cats tend to be needing a lot of. And then we have all of our whole food bites, which are basically treats or toppers. They're all organ-based. Yes, those guys.
Our cats are obsessed with this. Our one boy won't eat his food if bison is not on top. Literally every single meal he has. Yeah.
So those are cool because they're all organ meats, and then they have different colored plants paired with them. So like beef red has beef organs and then red plants. Bison green has different bison organs and then green plants. And the idea behind that is that they're so high value and tasty and pets love them. And then you're also getting these benefits from the phytonutrients of the plants, and you don't really have to think about it that much because they're just paired together in fun packaging and just rotate through them.
Yeah. I love
Billy, do you want to talk about the pace mushroom and food?
Yeah. So our food is complete and balanced for dogs and cats. And I talked a little bit about this the last time I was on here, but if you're making a food for dogs and cats, you kind of have to make a cat food and then make it applicable to dogs. So it's kind of ironic because we had the dog listed on the packaging, but because cats are a little bit more fine-tuned at being obligate carnivores. And so we made the most efficient limited food that's complete and balanced for both species. And that's through essentially using heart instead of muscle, and which is more nutrient dense, and then using more kidney and liver. And especially for cats, you need those vitamins to be in their fat soluble whole actual form versus something like beta carotene, because cats can't make that conversion. So that's why our food is so applicable. And just to throw it out there randomly, we just did a nutrient panel test and because we do get a lot of questions about the taurine content because we don't add synthetic taurine to the food, and it's about double the daily recommended amount, and all of that comes from the heart, liver, and kidney. So it's in its most sort of bioavailable form, and then we have that in 6 proteins in freeze dried as well as 5 in frozen. And we also have some fermented items. And so, yeah.
Packaging on that really quick.
The what?
the packaging, how it's not on the packaging?
Oh, yeah. So it's not currently on the, so it doesn't say, and I know this is an issue for cat people, so we know that already, so don't, like yell at me or anything like that. But it says complete and balanced for dogs. It does not say for cats. Currently, we are working on that as far as making a change for that. But if anyone is wondering and wants to reach out to us, we can send you the information on cats, feeding amounts, everything that you need. We've had a lot of cats that have been on this food for, especially the freeze-dried food for, over 2 years now, and had really good results for that. So try to fight past your, it doesn't say catsness, and you can use it, I promise.
A little background on that. First of all, we have done the packaging, printed the packaging, and it's in our warehouse. But it's probably going to be like 6 to 8 months before we get to it because of current inventory levels.
Right.
Oh, that's exciting.
The reason we didn't do it initially is because a lot of the feedback that we got from retailers and distributors and just people in the industry is that they wanted separate dog and cat lines.
Right.
And we're a really small company. We don't have any investment or anything like that. And so we put all our eggs in the basket of launching the dog food first.
Right.
But then after having the food in the market for longer, we found that not only regulatory wise, but that a lot of customers were open to having one food for both. And that made it a lot easier for us, rather than doubling our SKUs and having a cat food and a dog food, that we could use the one food labeled for both.
Yeah.
So that's the route we're going. We are on the way, but that's the backstory.
I
love
it.
that though. And it is, I think for the consumer, I think it's really helpful to see like how slowly the gears turn sometimes when it's a business and you're doing it the right way, right? Like you're not gonna get rid of a bunch of inventory. Like there's just the logistics of things. I love that.
Yeah.
So
and I will say, the last thing on the food, which I think is interesting, is it's not, because we get asked this question too, is it Prey model? Is it the worst acronym? Is it BARF model? Is it all these different things? It's none of those. It's Green Juju. We invented a new way of formulating food, and this is how we got here. And so that just goes back to what Kelley was talking about when we talk about new things, new health outcomes, and that's been happening for over 10 years. But it is, so it's sort of a new system. So we also have 3 fermented products. We have our wild fermented mushroom probiotic. We have BAM's Beets, which will soon be called BAM's Digestive Support. And we also have Lewis fermented golden paste, which will be, what is it? Help me.
Lewis inflammatory support.
There you go. Thank you. Which will be that soon. Yeah. So it's my dog, and I didn't know what the new title was going to be. Sorry, by the way, this keeps kind of going blurry, but that's fine. So those products are really good frozen fermented foods that introduce wild fermented bacteria. So in that we'll kind of go into a little bit about what we're going to talk about tonight. But this is really the first iteration, and this is where you can get not only the benefit of those wild fermented probiotics or probiotics that come from nature and are naturally occurring, but you can also get the health benefits of those foods, say the anti-inflammation. And we've actually had really good palatability with cats and the golden paste, which is surprising.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because it is just like a paste, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just basically turmeric, coconut oil, and water, and we ferment the turmeric, the whole root. And so, but we've had really good palatability on it and really good results with movement and, especially in senior animals. Yeah. And then you have something like BAM's Beets, which is really like, we know that cats benefit from extra fiber, and that goes back to the blends as well. We know that cats benefit from antioxidants in plants, and then those bacteria as well. So, and all those are made right here in Pennsylvania.
Wow. Why are we changing the name from Beets? Is it just
BAM's Beets?
BAM's Beets?
So we launched the wild fermented mushroom probiotic, which we never even thought to name anything that what it was. And it's honestly how it goes. And it immediately did really well without any training, without any sales tips. People just understood what it was and they bought it.
Right.
And then you look at Bam's Beets and it's like, what is that? And they are really, really cool products. And once people get on them, they become extremely loyal to them, to the point where they are panicking if they can't find it. But it's hard to get people on it because nobody knows what it is.
Right.
And so it's funny because of all the things that we've done, the product came out perfect on the first try, and I am on my like 7th packaging iteration. I mean, I just cannot get those right. And so we had to change the cups anyways to make them more legible. And I was like, while we're doing it, let's just tell people what these actually are, so that if it's sitting in the freezer and there's nobody in the store around to help them, they can immediately be like, oh, this helps digestion, or this is for inflammation.
Yeah.
I think it's at least, it's not going to necessarily sell the product just off that, but it's enough to be like, what is this? Does it help with digestion?
Yep.
Yeah. Give them a little help.
Quick question then about Bam's Beets or Bam's digestive health. Is that something, you mentioned the extra fiber? Is that, when people, constipation is an issue that a lot of cats deal with, a lot of cats that are on all dry diets, all that sort of thing, or just cats that have a proclivity towards it, like our Mr. Biddles, that he would get, especially blowing his coat season, he had a proclivity towards constipation. Is Bam's Beets, Bam's digestive, what is it?
Digestive support.
Digestive support.
Rolls off the
tongue. It does. Bam's digestive support. It does roll off the tongue. Is that something that we could recommend? We recommend like pure pumpkin or coconut oil. Would this be something that would be helpful for something like constipation or even diarrhea?
Absolutely. Especially, either way, I think it would. I also think the golden paste, the inflammatory support would also be good because it has the coconut oil in it. So I think either way, you're going to be getting fiber and either the digestive support properties or the coconut oil, which either way would help. Billy, what do you think?
Yeah, and you can just and also the probiotics as well, and the happy yeast and that kind of thing. But the nice thing is, since they're concentrated smaller amounts, you can start with whatever amount you want and then just kind of see what works. So you can start with the dosage for 0 to 10 pounds, say, and then you can kind of just work up or down from there. And then you should know fairly quickly how much you need to add in order to kind of get them to where they need to be.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. And there's fear around raw goat's milk. Here in Nevada, it's actually illegal. Can you seriously?
Did they pass it to where it is not legal? Bill, you know all this stuff.
Nevada specifically?
Yeah, it was like Texas and Nevada were the ones
market,
left, and I thought Texas or Florida.
But strange.
No, Nevada hasn't changed. I know that because they just reached out to us about something, so they're definitely still in that camp.
Yeah, you can buy marijuana and prostitution is legal, but raw goat's milk, no.
Whoa. No. We got to draw the line somewhere. Can you share a little bit about the benefits? You talk about it as a whole food supplement. Like, it is something that is incredibly beneficial. But, sorry, we have cats in here. Can you explain a little bit about the benefits of raw goat's milk?
Yeah, I'll summarize it into like a few like sort of quick things, because it's just such an infinitely interesting, we discover new things every year in it. And so it's you can never stop.
Favorite question.
No.
Of all questions.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't even know anything about milk. So, but it's basically, it's nature's attempt at a complete and balanced food. And so it has everything that a mammal needs in order to survive and thrive. There's one particular thing that I'll just cover, which I think is really interesting. It's the only food where it has every enzyme and cofactor to digest 100% of every nutrient. So it's the only food in existence that that a dog or cat will get 100% of every vitamin and mineral and nutrient every time they consume it. And it basically digests itself. So it's especially for cats who need more moisture. All of those nutrients are tied to the moisture. right? And so they're just much more easy to assimilate. We know that's true with supplements, all that kind of stuff. Whenever they're in liquid, it's easier to assimilate as well. And nature kind of does that, I think, on purpose. But so it, we say this for dogs a lot, but if you're starting with fresh food, our veggie blends and milk are a really easy place to start for fiber content. And then raw milk has over 3,000 identified different probiotic species in it. And so, you have both of those things. It's kind of a nice, and going back to your digestive issues for cats, that can be a good fix. You could start with adding more fiber through the blends and then also feeding that with the milk as well.
Yeah.
I love it.
And cats love, or the majority of cats, right? Every cat is different, but the majority of cats, they love raw goats, but they love milk just in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, even though cats are technically like lactose, most cats, as far as giving them like milk, they always see pasteurized milk in a saucer. Like you're wondering why their cat is having.
Yeah, it's there's lactase in raw milk, and there's also bacteria that help to digest lactose sugars as well. So there's kind of both those. And also I will add it as well that our milk is just milk. And so cats tend to like it a lot because there's just much more mild flavor to it. There's not like additives, or it's not fermented, that kind of thing. So it's very I find the palatability is really high with cats, and that I'm always really proud when we can make something and then cats really like it, because I feel like that's a bar as far as like
it is.
Dogs will eat anything, but cats, they have a particular palate.
They do.
It's true though. That is hitting a bar, but it also speaks to the kinds of products that you guys create. I mean, I think it's just super exciting. Super exciting is this new products.
Cover the fear part of the raw goat's milk enough? Did we talk about like food safety stuff?
Oh well,
I don't think so. No. Oh, that's a good point, Kelley. Why don't you cover that?
No. This is your deal.
This is favorite topic.
So our all of our milk is certified for human consumption in the state of Pennsylvania. So that doesn't mean we can sell it for human consumption, but what that means is we go through the same gold standard safety protocols that you go through in order for it to go on a human grocery store shelf in Pennsylvania. And that involves the welfare of the animals. It also involves state inspectors at the farms every 2 weeks doing certain testing and checking certain aspects of the farm. I also go out and inspect every one of the farms every year. I'm up there. A lot of those farms, I'm at them more than once a year, but I hit every farm once a year in the spring to look at every aspect of the operation. So their permits, their pasture, the welfare of the animals, the entire setup. It means a lot. And it means a lot for all of us at Green Juju to work with that particular set of 15 small family farms here in Pennsylvania. And so, I know we all take a lot of pride in that. So this is the safest and highest quality milk on the market.
That is incredible. Every 2 weeks they get state inspected. Wow.
See, I can't do this part because I can't talk about how I personally inspect them. It's a whole dimension that we would be without. So thank you.
Yeah, you guys are on opposite sides of the
country. Yeah, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is incredible. And yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head for people that are kind of on the fence about food safety when it comes to raw milk versus, pasteurized or giving.
I mean, it's so it goes back to the processed food versus non-processed, raw.
Right.
Like, it's still the same.
I think it kind of has the people think it's completely unregulated and it's just going from a goat to a bottle to wherever you buy it. But that's not the case. And that's actually well regulated. So
it is. And I think, with more people being aware of some of the terrible things that happen at some of these massive farms that are out there, I love that you guys are working with small family farms concerned about the welfare of the animals that are bringing this gift to all of us. It is just, it's one
Well,
of the
and it
many
shows
reasons that
in
we
the-
love green juju.
And it
So,
shows in the end product too.
Yeah, it does.
Very well.
You're
Yeah.
one.
Okay,
I
let's
think
talk
so.
about the new stuff.
Let's talk about the new stuff. I know. This is so exciting. This is literally the most innovative thing I've ever heard. Like
I've ever seen.
never even. Has this ever been done before?
No.
This has never been done before.
No,
Okay,
that's it. That's my only answer. I just go no, and then that's it. I don't have anything more to say about it.
it's so exciting.
Yeah, it's this just this kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where we can take an idea and a concept and something that we haven't figured out what the best diet is for a dog or cat yet. We haven't figured out all the avenues. We haven't figured out the best way to make them healthy. And so we're still figuring that out. And we really try as a company to not just do our version of what, 6 other people have done. We really try to make things that can push nutrition forward. And so this was just a really interesting one of us having an idea, and then it came to fruition. And I kind of can't believe it at this point, but here we are. So I'm excited about it as well.
I'm very excited to learn how long it took you to do
From idea to market.
Yeah.
I mean, a year, but
Wow.
it could have been 6 months, but then we pushed it off just because timing of other stuff and launches and whatever. We moved pretty quick though.
Yeah. Once we get like, hey, we're doing this, but there are so many elements that go into putting the product out on the market that I'm always proud of our team, but the fact that this is coming out, soon, I think is kind of a cool feat in and of itself. So we can kind of go into what it is, what they are. Do you want us to kind of go into that, or?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
So they're probiotics, and one of the things about
telling everybody what it is.
yeah. So they're probiotics, and one of the problems is, so we wanted to do something different here. And so if we were traditionally going to make a probiotic, what we would do is we would go to a lab and we'd say, okay, we want to make a healthy probiotic. They would tell us the list of strains they have, and then we could pick them out and we could arrange them in a certain way. And you'd have like 5 or 10 or 15 or however many different strains of good bacteria to put in there. So we didn't really want to do that because there's other people who are doing that well. And we also thought, we always sort of talk about the fact that when you use foods, and especially fermented foods, you don't have just 5 different bacteria types. You have hundreds to thousands of different probiotic types. And happy and healthy yeast as well. And so we wanted to be able to bring that into the market. So, and we'll talk about the 3 cultures in a second, but what we did was we took 3 fermented foods, and I guess it would be good to just go into each one, and then that'll be an easier way to explain it.
Yes.
Let's do it.
So it's not just one probiotic you guys have launched. There are 3.
Yes.
And there are farm, leaf, and soil. I was like, what is this? So start with whichever one you want.
So I want to start with soil, because I think that soil is actually going to be really beneficial specifically for cats. Because soil, one of the things I love about this is these cultures come from Kelley and I. So Kelley developed Bailey's blend a very long time ago, and Bailey's blend, we know, naturally ferments itself in the refrigerator. But what we did was we took Bailey's blend.
Bailey's blend is one of the dark leafy green veggie blends that I was talking about in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not good at the people who are watching this and may not know what that is thing. So I appreciate that.
That's here.
I think everybody knows everything about green juju. What are you talking about? That's where my mind is. So we took Bailey's blend and we fermented it. And what happens when you wild ferment vegetables, which is essentially, we just added sea salt to Bailey's blend to quicken up the fermentation process. And what happens when you lower the pH is all the bacteria and probiotics that exist within the dark leafy greens grow. And so those probiotics mimic the probiotics that your dog or your cat would be exposed to if they were rolling in the grass and getting dirt in their mouth and they were outside. And we know that most cats don't go outside. And so this is an attempt to sort of mimic that environment. But what makes this so special is we didn't just freeze dry Bailey's blend and say this is a probiotic, like we didn't ferment it and freeze dry it. We actually took the entire culture of all those 500 different probiotics strains and we sent them to a lab and we had that lab grow them in a different environment or different medium. And so what that means is you have all of that whole food probiotic culture without any of the food anymore. So those cats or dogs that can't do fermented foods can benefit from this because it's literally just the bacteria. And so one of the things we know about the longest lived, dogs, for example, is that the commonality between them was dirt, was that microbial experience. And I really think that dogs and cats are suffering because they're not in that native environment that they evolved in.
Right.
And so this brings that into their bowl in a shelf-stable powder that is almost completely, it dissolves very quickly into anything that you put it into, and it's almost completely tasteless. It's like slightly sweet. And so
do you think this would be a really great remedy for allergies? Because we have so many cats that have like seasonal allergies. And I know, but if it's mimicking this, would it also then help them to basically desensitize? Could it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do, because one of the things I talk about all the time with our blends is like exposure therapy. So like when you put a dog who has a bunch of allergies, like environmental allergies, just because it's not the same plants doesn't mean that those plants don't have the same constituents as some of the plants in, say, Just Greens or Bailey's blend. So it's that exposure over time, of all that variety. But the bacteria is part of that as well. So I do think that this could have a great impact. And also, and this is in dogs, but so we basically had 2 levels of testing with these. And the first one so far, there's more to come, but the first one was seeing if they're a good replacer for fermented foods, right? Taking animals that are on fermented foods, taking them off and then putting them on. And we got great results with that. And then actually, Barbara Royal's lead vet tech had a dog whose gut was in pretty bad gut dysbiosis and tested, and then did soil for 1 month and then retested and was almost completely healed. So the gut dysbiosis was almost completely normal after 1 month on soil.
Oh, wow.
Just a regular dose?
That's a game changer.
Yeah, regular dose. And that's where this is a new thing. And so this is where I was talking about, like, we can push new health outcomes. And the other thing is too, it concentrates nature. And the best example I can give that to you is in leaf. So maybe that's a good segue into going into leaf.
Segue. That was good.
Leaf is referencing tea leaves, because leaf is kombucha based. And so this again goes back to the kombucha culture itself is actually my SCOBY culture that's been alive for over 10 years and is very meticulously curated for diversity still to this day. Yeah.
Can you explain to anyone that is not familiar with SCOBY what that actually is?
So a SCOBY is just, it stands for the symbiotic colony of yeast and bacteria, and it's basically, or bacteria and yeast, obviously, if the acronym's right. But it's essentially just the kombucha culture itself. So when you brew kombucha, it's just a bunch of probiotic bacteria and yeast that help each other. And it's that entire culture itself. So this is 10 years of other people's SCOBYs and farm SCOBYs and other kombuchas, and it just has a ton of diversity in there. But it's going to be really, really effective for yeast issues. especially because essentially there's a couple ways to look at getting rid of yeast, or you can kind of get rid of yeast, but then there's also staving off the problem in the future. And I think this is going to help with both. So you can get rid of yeast, say, by only feeding no carbohydrates over time, but then you don't want to necessarily just limit your pet's diet for the rest of their life. So what this can do is you can either start with this, or you can use it after you do something like that. And essentially what happens is this is going to have like 200-ish species of good yeast, balanced yeast that already exist in the environment, in your cat, etc. And so it is, when you give this probiotic, it's like inoculating their body over and over again with balanced yeast, which is going to eventually crowd out that one species that's overgrowing on their skin. So
yeast is actually, yeast is one of those issues where we really thought it was more predominantly with dogs.
I think it still is, but we see more and more cases in cats now.
That's incredible.
Well, and especially with just how cats eat, like they're not meant for really any carbohydrate content,
Right.
like that's why when we're talking about the blends, that's why they work, is because they're so low in carbs and high in fiber. But like when you're feeding cats like processed diet with a bunch of carbohydrates, it does all sorts of things that aren't supposed to happen, like diabetes and yeast issues and all those things. But again, this is where so we know that, and also really great we know in mammals that that kombucha microbes from a recent study act as sort of like fasting microbes. So great for metabolism as well. And so again, when a lot of times when we talk about kombucha, people are like, well, I don't want the residual caffeine, or in fermentation, there's residual alcohol content, histamines, all those things. This is none of that, because there's no kombucha left in it. It's literally just the actual whole food culture. And the other thing, I keep saying, I'm like one of those like corny TV salesmen. And what?
Okay, there's more.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. You got it. So the other thing too is when you grow it. So when the lab grows every batch of this, it's the whole culture. So it'll grow out differently every time. So even if you use the same one, it'll be rotating products because you'll get different amounts of the bacteria.
Oh, wow.
I have a question, being that helps with metabolism.
So it needs to go on auto ship, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Get that set up. Is it safe for humans? Is that an illegal question?
Is that an illegal question?
Yeah, I'm just asking for myself.
Just in case she accidentally gets it in her
I'm just getting into the kombucha world a little bit, but I welcome anything that helps with
my two favorite things, drinks, kombucha and coffee are both they're both in that realm. So
oh my gosh. Okay, this is so exciting, because we have been excited about probiotics for a long time, and we're big advocates of finding good companies that are doing it right and then rotating them, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is taking that to the next level,
right?
And I mean, there's just going to be no way. I mean, there is,
but the reason that we say rotate is
this.
Because there's only like this many strains in this one, and
there's
this
5, 10,
and they're
50,
different.
20.
They're different, So we want to keep that microbiome, right? Like growing. We want to.
So that's exactly why we rotate, is because we're trying to get a greater diversity of strains, right? Because you don't want to monoculture and just feed those strains too much.
Right.
And that's what's awesome about these probiotics, is that the way that we're doing them, just growing out the bacteria from the actual food, you have hundreds to thousands, depending on which probiotic you're feeding, which probiotic you're feeding. And like Billy said, they'll naturally rotate in each batch that you make, but it's kind of more of a like food therapy concept, where it's very, very, very diverse, but it's lower potency, which is important because a lot of times that we reach for probiotics is when our pets' guts are off. Like maybe they just had antibiotics, or they don't feel well, or it's a puppy or a kitten and they're just kind of sensitive. And so sometimes when you overload them with something that's really potent, we think potent is like, good, it's going to work, but sometimes it's too much for them.
Right.
And so this really diverse and lower potency strategy can be really, really beneficial.
Oh, this is game
That's a
changer.
great point.
And can be used long term. It's not something that really that even needs to, because it is already being rotated.
And it is food, which is kind of at the core of everything we do. Like everything we do is just food.
And the other part, since you mentioned antibiotics too, is remember antibiotics don't kill probiotic yeast. So that can be a good go-to as well.
With a round of antibiotics.
Mm-hmm.
Take along with the antibiotics.
Helping maintain the gut through the course.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have
Oh my God.
soil, leaf, both already. We're gonna go binge on these for our babies. And maybe
We're back to Billy's favorite topic. Are you ready?
farm.
Let's go.
So farm is derived from my personal homemade yogurt, raw milk yogurt culture, which has been alive for over 2 years. At the point of when this was, sent to a lab, was over 2 years, and it is an incredibly diverse culture because I took. Long story short, the first iteration of this, I did like a base yogurt culture, which is like 6 different cultures, but I'm doing this in a raw state, right? And so the milk itself stays raw the whole time. So you're getting those cultures as well. So those 3,000 plus cultures that you'd get from raw milk in general. So over that time, over that 2 years, essentially, I added in other local farms, raw yogurt. I added in, but every time I made yogurt, it inoculated it with a new differing set of, bacteria because you're using raw milk. So it just is a culture that is very high in probiotic yeast as well as probiotics. And we call it farm because of the fact that when you look at studies when it comes to raw milk, it's never just what the bacteria from the goat that goes into the milk. It's bacteria from the farm itself. So there's a really cool study that shows they took swabs around the farm of different areas, and they found that in the milk as well. So we know that living on a farm, growing up on a farm, we know you have less allergies, less asthma, and a lot of that, it goes back to that being in that microbiome all the time. When I go to our farms that I was just talking about for our raw milk, all of their kids are always no shoes, up to their knee in mud all summer, and I'm like, these are the healthiest kids on earth because they're constantly in that environment. And the other cool thing is, so the average raw goat's milk that you'd get would have that 3,000 plus species of probiotics, and they vary based on so many interesting factors. The most interesting of which is the temperature of the grass in the pasture. It varies the probiotic content in it itself. So what we did was we took this really magnified culture and we did the same process. So we took that whole culture and we took it to a lab and they grew it in a different medium. So it's all of that without any of the raw dairy. So now if you have a cat or dog that's sensitive to raw dairy, or you're looking for a shelf-stable option or whatever you want to do, you can still get the really diverse sort of immune-building probiotic content of that raw culture.
And this goes to when you were speaking earlier about the fear around raw goat's milk. This would be a perfect alternative if what we said didn't get people over the hump there. This is the perfect alternative because there's no food left in it, right?
Right.
And another thing, this is cow and goat's milk, which for me, having had pets that were sensitive to honestly both, but particularly cow, what my brain would have gone to is like, oh, I can't do that because it has cow milk in it, right? But again, because of the way this is made, it doesn't actually have the food in it. And so it's opening up more diversity, and pets are able to tolerate it because of that. And then lastly, I have to tell you guys that we did a podcast recently with Dr. Katie Woodley, and you are really missing out on a part of this pitch because when Billy was talking about this product, he goes, my yogurt culture has never been over 100 degrees. with like this slow, long pause for everybody to react to. And I didn't do it with justice, but I just wanted you guys to get that so that you knew, and you got to appreciate it.
Oh my God.
Why did we miss that?
How did we miss that? Now we have to go back and watch it.
He intentionally didn't do it.
Yeah, that's on this one. Yes, 100% did not do it on purpose. But it's true. It has never been over 100 degrees, which is important because it maintains the nutritional integrity of the raw milk itself.
I don't doubt the importance. Just the long pause with which you expected everybody to acknowledge the importance was well.
Yes. Yeah. That's the world I live in. All the stuff I get excited about, nobody cares. It's fine.
Okay.
So, a quick little story. It actually works better because it's cow and goat because you'll get a more diversified bacteria set. But the reason why there's cow in there as well is just purely because cow's milk has a different fat makeup and it just gets the yogurt to be much thicker for me personally. So that's why it's cow and goat, just generally.
It's in your initial blend that's been with you for more than 2 years now.
Yeah, it's still there now. I literally made some yesterday and it's in my refrigerator right now. So it's still going.
Wow.
Okay, Stephanie just said it best. She said, I'm so excited about these three. Talk about game changers. Wow.
Right?
This is really brain blowing, though. This is something that has never been. What?
It's mind blowing.
I like brain blowing.
Yeah.
Alliteration.
All right. Brain blowing.
I like the alliteration too. Thank you, Kelley. It's both. But it really will be a game changer. And I really think, more people are starting to look at what they're putting in their cats and the ways that they can help with allergies is such a big thing right now, right? And looking at not necessarily that it helps specifically with some allergy to, God forbid, dandelions, but that it helps build like immunity.
Right.
In a way that has never been done on this earth before.
Yeah, I think you guys absolutely have to figure out how to do that on auto ship. Because really, like,
is it an option?
You want to get this, you want to get the same, and then you want to get it again and again, and you're getting a diverse, like every single with every single batch. So, just that.
Yeah, and they all play. It's nice because they all play a particular role. So you can look at like immune function with farm and yeast and metabolism and just general digestion and diversity and allergies and things with soil. But so you can do them targeted. So a good example of that would be my dog is like when I first got him, he had allergies. They're mostly gone. I would say 98% gone. But if there's any health issue he has, which I manage, he tends towards yeast. So I'm excited personally to use Leaf every day to see, he's my little science experiment and just generally, but he also is, gets many fermented foods and that kind of thing as well. But especially for those people who are watching, they're like, my cat's really healthy. Well, let's not look at probiotics like they have to be a fixer, because it's not always, my cat has an issue, so they need a probiotic. It's all cats deserve as much gut diversity as possible in order to maintain their health. And this is just rotating between these three would be really great for any cat out there.
Thank you for making that point, because that's so important.
Sorry, our cat's trying to open up our sock drawer. I have a question from Laura Lee, Moon Mojo Feline in the house. I love you. Emmett is her cat. He has a heart condition, loves the goat's milk and the beef red. Do you know which one of the probiotics would be best for him to start with?
I'm not speaking in terms of like the heart condition aspect of this. But I would start with soil. Just because I think that, cats are in a particular situation because they don't go outside most of the time. And so that really hurts us all. Even if you have a dog, they're not really out in the woods most of the day. They don't sleep outside. It's kind of interesting because it would probably be more beneficial if they did. But, my dog has to sleep between my legs. That's the only place he'll sleep. So It's like he's not going to do that. And so, but it's interesting because when we started to talk about this concept of bringing the outside in and bringing nature into the bowl because they can't get to it, like cats were one of the first things where I was like, oh, they need this more than dogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Yeah, they
All right.
definitely do.
We're
She got the drawer open.
Oh no. No, baby girl. She's gonna start digging out her white socks. Okay, I'm trying to stay focused here. Hold on. And we already kept you longer than we anticipated.
Jeez, how did that happen?
I know. I feel like it's been 10 minutes. But Deb asked, so a cat with really bad yeast issues, would you rotate all three, or would you start with leaf, or what would your recommendation be for a cat that's got yeast issues?
I would do leaf and make sure you do it for like at least 2 months.
Yes.
Every single day. Because it's going to take time for that yeast to balance out and for it to crowd out the bad yeast.
Right.
So don't, and food takes time. But the other cool thing about that is it's not just yeast, right? It's a total combination of like 300 plus different species of combined yeast and probiotics. So you're getting that benefit as well. So it's good just to use moving forward, but I would just use that. And if it, when you start to see those results and you start to see that yeast reside, I would just do it forever. But then here's the other interesting thing is that you can do both. So it's just food. It's just food based. And Kelley made probably the best point on this entire thing, which was the low potency, food based, high diversity. So if you feed twice a day, you could do leaf in the morning and soil at night.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it'd be highly beneficial.
I think when it comes to treating yeast, it's important to remember that this is taking the approach of crowding out the bad yeast and creating a balance, and that is going to take time.
Yes.
Yeast is one of the most frustrating things because I think I would expect 3 months of just like temper your expectations and just stay the course. In my experience, that's about how long it takes to like really see something turn.
Yeah.
So I think that's just important to consider, especially with this approach, that you're balancing things and it's going to take a while to really see it, but just know that things are working inside.
Awesome.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Well said,
and then for the products, for these three probiotic products, what would be dosing for a cat?
Or is it already on there? Is it 0 to 10 pounds, right?
I mean, but is it like is it a large amount or is it a small amount? Like, is it a tiny little scoop or is it a big scoop?
It's a small amount. So there's a customized scoop in there. I think it would be, I'm guessing like 2 to 4 scoops. Is that about right?
No, it'd be 1.
So 1 to 2, depending on the size of the cat?
No, it'd be 1 just total. 1 is for a 0 to 30 pound dog is 1.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
perfect.
So I would just do 1.
Yeah.
Again, if you, and I think that will be, as far as the amount we were looking for, which is 2.5 billion CFU per dose. So the thing is, going back to low potency, high diversity, like that should be the level at which you see a really good result. But let's say so just want to tell people like this is just food. So again, I went back to like the dose is 1 scoop, but you could do 2 different ones, which would be 2 scoops in a day, and that's actually going to be highly beneficial as well. So and it goes back to the specific cat themselves, because every cat and dog is so different from each other. And the nice thing is you can just kind of play around with it, and even for some of those people that have like the really, really small cats, you could even play around with like half the amount or something like that. And if you do 1 scoop a day, that will last 2 months for a cat.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
That is incredible.
Okay. When and where
Yes.
can people access these awesome new products? All the products that we discussed
All
in
the
the beginning are, they're already out there in the store.
I just want to mention one other thing because we never mention it for some reason, and I don't know why, but there is one other ingredient in this probiotic, and it is artichoke fiber. So it is a prebiotic to help get the probiotics started. So that's the only food ingredient in this is artichoke fiber. So that is there to sort of get them going, just generally.
So when and where, like with all good things, we've had to wait a little bit longer than we wanted to. These were supposed to ship the last week of March, and I think they're going to ship the last week of April, which is only like 2 weeks away.
All right.
Then it takes a little bit of time to trickle into distribution into our retail pet stores. We have a couple vendors who sell online, so I bet that will be popping up the soonest. If you are interested in these, I would let your local independent pet store know that you would like to order them because they like to sell you things that they know you'll buy.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think that would be the best route is just letting your pet store know that you want them. Keep an eye out for them. We already have our deal sheets and everything out to our distributors, so the stores should be able to contact distributors and let them know they want it.
Awesome. I'm at the House of Paws tomorrow, where we had the pleasure of seeing you last year, and I will be sure to make sure. I will be sure to make sure Megan knows this is coming.
Yeah,
sure. That sounds good.
Well,
that's brain blowing.
It's brain blowing. Okay, well, we've got your link to Green Juju, your website, here in the description.
And you have store locators on your website. Yep. So if you guys are looking for a store near you, maybe you don't shop in stores, then you can find a store near you on their website. Link is in the description here.
You guys make an incredible life-changing products, but you guys also make great content. So where else can people find and follow you?
We are on Instagram and Facebook, and we don't do TikTok because we're too old, but those
too old to TikTok.
I can't figure it out.
Your TikTok shop would be fire. I'm just going to say.
Well, I need somebody else to run it for me because I can't even get on the app and know what's going on.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. I love you guys so much for taking this much time with us and our beautiful community tonight. So many people here are already sharing in the excitement for these products. Anything top of mind that we didn't hit on tonight? Anything else that you guys want to share?
We're the ones that answer emails and social media stuff. So if you guys have questions, reach out to us and we'll answer.
I love it. You guys are so authentic and awesome.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Yes. And thank you all for joining us. And we will see you very soon. We love you all.
Thank you, Kelley. Thank you, Billy. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Thank you.